What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our predictions for Week 16 in the NFL. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey Trash Talkers, over 85% of you are still not subscribed to the channel. Please be sure to hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications, as it will help us create more daily content for you. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Alright Nick, week 16 is here and this NFL season is just absolutely flying by, and we have a lot of great games, a lot of games that are going to shape the entire playoff picture. And it starts off on Thursday Night Football with the San Francisco 49ers heading down to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Nick, who do you got in this game?
Yeah, the San Francisco 49ers looking really hot lately, playing really well, and the Tennessee Titans coming off a bad loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It looks like Julio Jones and A.J. Brown are not going to be playing this game, which means Ryan Tannehill's back to playing with nobody, and against the 49ers, that's not what you want. I'm taking the 49ers to get a big away victory this week.
That would absolutely be a massive victory for the 49ers. Next up, we see the Cleveland Browns taking on the Green Bay Packers in a Saturday night Christmas Day matchup. That's right, we have football on Christmas, folks. And the Cleveland Browns are coming off of that tough loss, that narrow loss they suffered at the hands of the Las Vegas Raiders. A last-second field goal crushing their dreams. And now the Packers are coming into town, and the Packers are no joke. They are the best team in football, and they are not here to play around. Aaron Rodgers is going to light up the sky against this Cleveland Browns team that is really struggling to stop the pass right now. I think the Browns are going to struggle, especially if Myles Garrett can't go in this one. Whether he can or not doesn't matter. I'm taking the Packers, and this is my lock of the week. The Green Bay Packers will beat the Cleveland Browns.
And for our Christmas night matchup, our Saturday night matchup, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Indianapolis Colts coming off their biggest victory of the season against the New England Patriots. The Arizona Cardinals coming off the worst loss of the season against the Detroit Lions. The Cardinals looking for retribution at home on Christmas night, but I don't think they're going to get it with the way Jonathan Taylor is running. It is absolutely incredible. He is possibly the front runner right now for MVP in the league, and he is doing everything in his power to show that he is the best running back that we have seen in a while. Jonathan Taylor is incredible. I just don't think there's any way that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be able to stop him with the way they're playing, and I'm taking them to have a big away victory on Christmas night.
For our first 1 o'clock matchup on Sunday, we see the Detroit Lions heading down to the Atlanta Falcons. The Detroit Lions, who are newly minted as a multi-win team in the NFL, are looking to capitalize on the momentum they're starting to build with this roster. And the Lions actually look like a pretty fierce team right now. They look like they are a team that can run the ball. They can also pass on you. And now they might be without Jared Goff as he deals with COVID. But at this point, I'm actually going to take the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions have what it takes to go into Atlanta and beat this Falcons team. Kyle Pitts and Russell Gage cannot be the only guys that beat this Lions team. I expect the Lions to come out on top in this one, whether it is Jared Goff or somebody else.
Up next, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings still looking to hold on to a playoff spot, still looking to get one of those wild card spots, but the Los Angeles Rams are playing incredible, and they are looking to take the division over from the Arizona Cardinals. This is the week they can do it. They're looking much better every week that Odell is getting ingrained to this offense, and if they get Darrell Henderson back, it's going to be absolutely over. But nonetheless, I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams to get a nice victory on the road against the Minnesota Vikings this week.
Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars head on up to East Rutherford, New Jersey, taking on the New York Jets. This is one terrible matchup. The Jacksonville Jaguars need to essentially lose this to solidify their #1 selection in the draft. And at this point, I think they're going to. I think the New York Jets are a much stronger team than the Jacksonville Jaguars are, as they deal with the reeling loss of everything they've had to deal with Urban Meyer. Many players missing on their team with injuries and COVID, and you name name it, the Jaguars have gone through it. The New York Jets look like a pretty formidable team against these other crappy teams, if you will. They almost beat the Miami Dolphins and brought them to the brink. I think that they're going to be able to easily handle the Jaguars.
Up next, we have the New York Giants taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. The New York Giants struggling with a ton of injuries, just playing bad football this season. And the Philadelphia Eagles, they're still in it. They're still competing for a wild card spot. They think they could do it. And if they get a big victory over the New York Giants, it's going to go a long way. Jalen Hurts is there. Miles Sanders is back. Dallas Goedert. There's so many weapons on this Eagles offense. I just don't think that there's a way the New York Giants can get ahead of them. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles to win at home this Sunday.
Next up, we see the Buffalo Bills heading on over to New England in what is our game of the week. The Buffalo Bills, the New England Patriots, these two teams saw each other 3 weeks ago, and the Patriots beat them by throwing 3 times and completing 2 of those passes. That was one of the most blistery, gusty days in NFL history I've ever seen. Now these two teams are going to have a little bit calmer weather out in Foxborough, Massachusetts, but nonetheless, the Bills are out for blood because they no longer currently lead the AFC East. In fact, they're barely hanging on to a playoff spot as they sit in the 7 seed right now in the AFC. The New England Patriots, coming off of that terrible loss that you talked about, Nick, against the Indianapolis Colts, they're looking for some retribution too. Coming out of a bye week and laying an egg the way they did is not a Bill Belichick coached team. In fact, the Patriots are going to come out and try to make a statement in this one, and I'm going to take the New England Patriots. I believe that they have the rushing ability to really stomp all over this Bills defense. I think they have what it takes to be a multifaceted offense and really take advantage of the poor secondary that is no longer led by Tre'Davious White. We didn't really get to see what Mac Jones could do against the secondary because of the weather conditions we saw in Buffalo. Now I think he has an opportunity to really show out and show up, and I think he's going to be able to do that. I'm taking the Patriots in a very, very close last-second victory against the Buffalo Bills.
Up next, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Last week, we saw the Cincinnati Bengals take over the lead of the AFC North and thrust themselves into the top 4, and the Baltimore Ravens are now reeling to stay within the wild card spot. This could be a big game because if the Baltimore Ravens win, they take back over as the division leader, and it's the Bengals looking from the outside in. This is a very big game, but when you look at the teams, when you look at the players they have available, Baltimore just doesn't have many players left. And if Lamar Jackson plays, it's the same as if Tyler Huntley plays because, frankly, they're both playing mediocre at best. And the Cincinnati Bengals, yeah, they're struggling on offense too, but they have much more firepower to work with. Joe Burrow is a much more reliable quarterback than anything the Baltimore Ravens have to offer, and I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals to get a big home victory this week.
That would absolutely be a massive victory. And next up, we see the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Houston Texans. The Los Angeles Chargers are coming off of a very narrow loss to the Kansas City Chiefs that happened in overtime on Thursday night. Well, they've had some time to stew on that, and they're not happy with the way they played, especially when it came to 4th down and not being able to kick field goals, no conversions on 4th down. It was a mess for the Chargers. This is a get-right game, and I think they are going to have to absolutely unload on the Houston Texans. It's not a good day to be a Texans fan or a Texans player for that matter, as I expect Joey Bosa and this defense to really lock things down. I expect Justin Herbert to be on fire. I think the Los Angeles Chargers are going to get a massive victory in this one.
And up next, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Carolina Panthers. The Buccaneers suffered some big losses last week to the New Orleans Saints. Chris Godwin out for the season. Leonard Fournette and Mike Evans out 1 to 2 weeks. Antonio Brown is making his return, and the Buccaneers just did sign Le'Veon Bell to a contract. They are looking to get him into this offense ready for the playoffs, and Tom Brady's got to show that he's still an MVP leader. He is still the guy that can take this team all the way, because we didn't see the same Buccaneers offense last week. They got to show this as a get-right game. They got to prove, especially against their division, that they are here to stay, that they are the real deal, and that they can compete against anybody. This is a big game for them. I'm taking the Buccaneers as my lock of the week to absolutely go out there and ball out against the Carolina Panthers.
Next up, we see the Chicago Bears taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Chicago Bears are just an atrocity right now. Matt Nagy needs to be fired. This team does not believe in him. They couldn't barely put up points in prime time, and now you're going up against the Seahawks, who haven't looked great at all, but I'm sure the Seahawks will look like the Seahawks of 2014 and 2015 if you should put them out there against the Bears, and Russell Wilson's going to look like the MVP candidate he once was. Now, I just don't see the Bears being able to compete well in this one. I think the Seahawks take this one pretty easily.
Next up, we have the Denver Broncos taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders on Monday Night Football did not play very well, even though they were able to squeak out a victory over the Cleveland Browns. That was a Nick Mullins-led Browns, and they still were fighting for the win. I think they're going to struggle against Teddy Bridgewater and company. The running backs for the Broncos are legit, and they're going to be a big issue for this front seven that is struggling against the run. I'm taking the Denver Broncos to get a really important victory as they try to make a playoff spot.
Next up, we see the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, who will most likely be without their top two and pretty much only two weapons that you have to worry about, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, both being added to the COVID-19 reserve list. Not a good look for the Kansas City Chiefs right now, as Patrick Mahomes is going to have to throw to Byron Pringle and Mecole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson. At least they have CEH, I guess, but it's really not going to be a big game for them. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be able to take this one handily. I think there's not enough firepower for the Chiefs, and the Steelers, led by Big Ben, he's been in these situations before. He's competing for a playoff spot. He's competing against a defense that, frankly, I do not believe in. And I think at the end of the day, Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson and all these guys, Pat Freiermuth, hopefully he can go. These guys will be able to take advantage of the Chiefs defense, and I expect the Steelers to win.
And for Sunday Night Football, we have the Washington Football Team taking on the Dallas Cowboys. The Washington Football Team are dealing with tremendous injuries from COVID, from just general injuries from the game. It doesn't matter because the Dallas Cowboys defense is incredible, and the offense, we know they're going through a little struggle right now, but they can go off at any time. And why not against a division rival, the Washington Football Team? This is a big game. They have not faced off this season, and we know that the Dallas Cowboys are going to look to make a statement against them, and they're going to continue to try to prove that they are the best team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys could absolutely lock it up on Sunday Night Football, but two teams that can't lock anything up, the Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints. And what we get for a Monday Night Football game might be one of the biggest snooze fests we have, and we even have the Jags-Jets on the roster. That's how bad this game is going to be. The Miami Dolphins, I don't believe in Tua. He has looked absolutely horrid over the last few weeks. This offense is not clicking. I don't like anything I've seen from them whatsoever. The New Orleans Saints, I mean, congratulations. You were able to stop Tom Brady and really keep that team from scoring without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin, without Leonard Fournette. I mean, you know, you can pat yourself on the back, but at the end of the day, you didn't put up points either. 3 field goals is not going to be enough to get yourself into the playoffs, and both of these teams are trying to vie for their spot in the playoffs. I don't think either one of these teams are truly qualified to make the playoffs, and honestly, I don't really want to pick a winner, but if I had to choose, I think it's going to be the Miami Dolphins. I think they're just a little more consistent than the New Orleans Saints are, and I think the Saints will probably take this game off and not realize that they have some weaknesses as well.
Yeah, I like the Miami Dolphins. I don't think you're giving Tua enough credit, but the Miami Dolphins have been on the right side of things lately. They've had an incredible streak, and they are looking to try to make the playoffs themselves. This is not a game they can drop. The Saints neither, but we know that they just don't have the manpower to keep up. I believe Tua will be able to get the job done fairly easy, and the Miami Dolphins should have a very smooth road to victory on Monday Night Football.
I mean, the Miami Dolphins' best receiver last week was Christian Wilkins, so that is where we stand. But anyway, I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of this week's slate of games. Which teams do you have winning? Which teams do you have losing? Let us know in the comments down below. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.